We love sports because it cannot involve artificial intelligence. I will be taking no questions on this, and thank you for watching 10 Minutes with Nick today. No, I should probably say some more stuff about that. In the end, it may come down to sports being the last bastion of defense against the ever-encroaching presence of artificial intelligence in entertainment. Why? Well, let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. A couple of housekeeping items. We will be slightly more sporadic here as we are in sort of the off-season of the two sports I really care about, which is, Buffalo Sabres hockey and the Buffalo Bills. There's some interesting news maybe coming out of OTAs for the Bills, but mostly just, people wearing shorts and t-shirts and passing the ball. Wouldn't you know it? They're really good when they do that. And the Buffalo Sabres just, wrapped up their incredible run with a Game 7 loss to the Montreal Canadiens. So we'll be more sporadic, and we'll be talking about more sports-related things and sort of tangential topics. And this is one I've been thinking about, artificial intelligence and sports. And I'm really glad, and I think sports fans in general are really glad, that artificial intelligence will never encroach on sports. It won't. It just won't. Sports is interesting to watch because it's interesting to watch the stories of each team play out, and the stories are only interesting because of the human element. It's not interesting to watch a robot strive to be better because it's pre-programmed, right? A robot is pre-programmed to be only X good. The best stories in sports from every single season are watching the third string guy be the hero, right? The Golden State Warriors in, I forget what year championship, but Andre Iguodala, who was their sixth man on the bench, their first guy off the bench, became the MVP of the NBA Finals. Like, that's a phenomenal story. It's a great story to watch. Does that happen if the robots take over sports? No, of course it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen because every athlete has something that no robot can ever match, which is simply the human will element. And there is a significant amount that the human will plays into any athlete. Kobe Bryant is one of those guys who will tell you that, he had just the discipline to work harder than everybody else. He wasn't born with any special muscles. Michael Jordan wasn't born with any special muscles in their legs or anything. They just had the will and the discipline to work harder at basketball than anybody else around them. They were talented, for sure. They had some base level talent, but they had the will and the drive to work harder than anybody else. A computer literally can't outwork another computer unless it has additional processing power, right? And that means somebody has to give it additional processing power. Like, if you build the perfect athlete, it's not as exciting as if you just build yourself up. That's the story we like to see. And we also like to watch our heroes strive for something. And I say heroes loosely, right? It's sports, like, let's not get carried away. But we like to see them strive for something. Part of the reason the Buffalo Sabres season was so interesting is that Rasmus Dahlin and his fiance, I believe, went through a gigantic health scare at the beginning of the season. They lost a pregnancy. It was this terrible story. But he overcame it to help lead the Sabres to the playoffs for the first time in 14 years. Incredible story. Incredible human element. In an elimination game, he's got, 5 points. The first NHL defenseman in history to have 5 points when facing elimination. Again, he's a captain, he's a starter, he wears the C on his jersey. But what a story. What a phenomenal story to have with you. Josh Allen, quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. Everybody knows his story by now. You know, had to go to JUCO out of high school. Wrote thousands of letters asking coaches to look at his tape. Only got one D1 offer from Wyoming. Took his chance at Wyoming, parlayed it into a number 7 pick overall in the 2017 NFL Draft, and has only gone on to become one of the best quarterbacks in the league, doing something that no quarterback to that point had ever done, which is improve his accuracy massively from college to the NFL. And the way he did that was simply just by outworking the competition. He became maniacal about his throwing mechanics. That's a human element. It's not interesting to watch a computer do that. Even when you get into something like esports, right? Which is where esports is just basically professional video games, right? There's different leagues of esports. But esports is interesting not because of the video game itself, but because of the individual playing the video game. We watch for that. We watch for those guys. Those guys are the heroes, not the video game character up on the screen. Nobody's confused about who the actual hero is in the story. Artificial intelligence is a gigantic, do-nothing slot machine that steals creative content. That's what it is. And I mean that across all disciplines. Now, that works in some disciplines, right? Like, for basic administrative tasks, stealing the content of other basic administrative tasks that's how you learn how to do administrative tasks. But to expect us to buy into artificial intelligence as the hero of any story, that's a lot to ask. And we never are going to, despite what, AI companies want you to think. They want it to permeate every piece of life because they're trying to sell a product. And their product is their artificial intelligence gig. And I think sports is like the last frontier where we sort of get reminded of why we need the human element in everything. And sports reminds us of that because it's sort of the cleanest example of it. Again, like I told you about all the human stories in the Buffalo Sabres and the Buffalo Bills. It's the cleanest example of where humanity is so clearly needed in all of our stories and really in all of our life. And if we sort of look to sports as the example and say, well, okay, so why would we care if a computer wrote a book? Why would we care if a computer made a movie? Number one, the computer didn't write the book or write the movie. It stole the elements of the book and it stole the elements of the movie. Why do we care? There's a spark of humanity in different things that comes through. And we want it to come through. AI slop is just that. It's just slop. AI can do a lot of cool things. But I think it's time we start to say to ourselves, we need to put artificial intelligence in its place as a tool. And I think the best argument we can make for that is to say, just look at sports. Look how great sports is with the human element in it. Would you want to lose the human element of sports to watch a bunch of pre-programmed computers duke it out? No. Even with the associated dangers of sports, even with the associated injuries and everything like that, it's not interesting to watch two teams of pre-programmed robots fight. or do anything or struggle or look to, try to gain some type of advantage. It's interesting when you watch humans do it. And it's only interesting when you watch humans do it. Or at least those are my thoughts. I don't know. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. Have a great day.